Do your students think your class is cool? Like the content is interesting and they enjoy learning what you're teaching? That kind of cool? If so, then you have created a positive classroom climate. Think of classroom climate as the attitudes and feelings that your students experience when they are in your classroom. And while you may not be able to control all things related to teaching, the climate in your classroom is up to you. Does classroom climate make a difference for student learning? Yes, it does. Research tells us that classroom climate matters. When students feel accepted, seen, and valued by their teacher, they are more likely to have a successful learning experience. You have the power to create a positive classroom climate, and it isn't complicated. A few simple strategies can make a big difference. You can start by greeting students at the door when they arrive in your classroom. Call them by their preferred name and use their name often in the course of your instruction. Students like being called by their name because it makes them feel seen and acknowledged. Treat your students with respect. You can't expect your students to respect you if you don't respect them. Have conversations with your students, including the ones who are less talkative than others. Pay attention to the social interactions among students in your classroom. You should be aware of how your students treat each other. Tell your students they can succeed in your classroom and believe it yourself. Nothing inspires a student more than having a teacher who says, I know you can do it. Take a personal interest in your students. Did they have a game or a show last night, or how was work? And when possible, ask your students what and how they prefer to learn. What and how they prefer to learn may seem like a stretch, but actually, it's a strategy for differentiating instruction. You've heard of differentiated instruction, and you might think it means that you must treat each student differently. That's not true. But what it does mean is that you focus more on them and their learning and less about what you're doing. Ask yourself, what do my students need to learn, and how am I going to get them there? Differentiated instruction might include being aware of what different students need, offering learning choices whenever possible, encouraging small group work, adjusting time, space, and resources to meet individual student needs, using online or alternative resources for enrichment, or asking other students to provide peer support. You're probably already using different types of differentiation with your students. The important thing to remember is to allow students options for learning while still achieving the same learning objectives. A good way to begin is by developing a set of classroom rules. Give your students starter suggestions and let them add to or modify the list. Agreeing on a set of rules for the classroom is a great way to create a positive learning environment. Good teachers are experts in teaching course content and providing an inclusive environment where all students feel safe and empowered to learn. And that's pretty cool.